This is BBC One in the Northwest. Now, Inside Out.
Hello and welcome to Inside Out Northwest with me, Diane Oxbury.
This week we investigate why some New Ferry residents feel abandoned 6 months after the town was devastated by a gas explosion.
We're forgotten. We're left to get on with it ourselves, but we need help, and we need help now.
Hello, come on in. And have a seat.
We reveal how field nurses are going out into the countryside to help isolated farmers.
They're always more interested in their animals than actually coming and sorting themselves out.
It's like Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty exciting.
And we discover Cumbria's secret role in restoring a Banksy.
So there's been several attempts to destroy it, really.
Several attempts to destroy it and to steal it.
It's now more than 6 months since the small town of New Ferry on the Wirral was devastated by a massive explosion. Miraculously, no one was killed, but 30 people were injured and homes and businesses were destroyed. Some of the residents are still suffering and many feel they've been forgotten. I've been to meet them.
I got a phone call off my daughter and she just said, "Mum, there's been an explosion. Come and help me."
What was going through your mind?
I thought it was a bomb.
People running, screaming, people everywhere, glass everywhere.
The epicentre of the blast was here at what was a 2-storey commercial building surrounded by residential properties. 33 people were physically injured in the explosion that night, but many more have reported psychological problems in the weeks and months that followed.
The scale of the devastation shows just how powerful the explosion was. One building housing 3 businesses totally destroyed. The blast was heard up to 6 miles away.
The cause of the explosion is still being investigated by Merseyside police. As this CCTV footage from the nearby Cleveland pub shows, it was just an ordinary Saturday night. Regulars were buying drinks, a local band was playing in the bar, and then this happened. Landlady Anne Grimes wasn't in the pub that night, and it took a while before the police would let her back into the premises. When they did, she got a nasty shock.
Oh, it's a mess.
Yeah. I mean, believe it or not, that's much better than what it was. I just couldn't believe what I saw, really. There was just cracks and the windows had caved in and there was glass, obviously. The band stuff was still there in the bar. There was still glasses. It was just like everybody was just evacuated. It was just devastating.
With the pub closed, Anne has had no income and has had to claim benefits. She's also discovered that the building was underinsured, so she's had to fund a lot of repairs herself before she can reopen.
Same again.
But more so.
As a result, she now has rent arrears of around £1,700 on her nearby home and is facing eviction.
I've got endless amounts of debts and bills that have got to be paid as a result of no employment.
And there's nothing on the horizon that gives you hope that help will come in from outside?
Not at the moment, no.
The New Ferry community has come together to offer support to those worst affected. Paula Upton-Roberts, who runs the local buyback shop, has been the driving force behind much of the fundraising effort.
Just put on Facebook, you know, if anybody needed any help, if they wanted to come in the store, we'd see what we could do for them. And bear in mind, people had left their properties in the clothes they stood in, the pyjamas they were in, so they had absolutely nothing. I had people in my arms sobbing because they had no uniforms for their children, they had no home to go back to, they were sleeping between family and friends' houses, 6 weeks, 7 weeks. A lad out on the street who had nowhere to go for 3-4 days. We're in 2017. It's despicable.
But with a disabled husband to look after and a business to run, Paula eventually decided to pull back. She handed the baton to locals, who've set up a special charity to help those worst affected.
This is New Beginnings.
It is, yeah.
Tell me a bit about what goes on here.
We sell all the donations that have been put in for the people affected in the blast, and we just sell it and try and raise money for them. I thought the government would step in, and I thought it would be 6 weeks and that was it. There'd be nothing else needed from us, and the fact nearly 6 months on we're still volunteering our time is just unbelievable.
Is it hard for people to come and ask for help?
People from New Ferry are very proud. They don't want to come and ask for help, and I believe that they shouldn't have to. It should be just offered to them.
Just a stone's throw from the blast site is the historic village of Port Sunlight, which has 900 Grade 2 listed cottages. 35 buildings here were affected, including the home of Anne and Dennis Domville.
So your property here backs onto the site?
Yeah.
Were people out there?
Oh yes, all from the houses. They were screaming.
What was going through your mind?
I thought it was a bomb. All the roofs had gone. When we looked up, it's just dust. White dust everywhere.
Anne and Dennis left their home the next morning, but weren't allowed back in. All their belongings, including vital medication, remained inside. It was 4 weeks before they were able to return, and both have since developed health problems.
Yes.
The New Beginnings charity has been their lifeline.
I don't know where we'd be without them.
What did they do for you?
They gave us clothes and things, you know, to tide us, you know, for a couple of weeks and what have you. On the Monday, when we went round to the church hall, we had no clothes, you see.
No food.
No food. No, nothing really.
Mr. Speaker, late on Saturday night, a massive explosion devastated...
In the immediate aftermath, the local MP got an encouraging response from the highest authority.
And I'm very happy to ask the Secretary of State for Communities and Local Government to meet with her and discuss how that community can be rebuilt and can overcome the impact of this explosion.
She sounded sympathetic, but unfortunately actions have not matched words, and that makes me feel really cross because I think it makes people really disappointed in politics. I think people lose faith when politicians say one thing and do another.
What should the government have done?
I think the government should have stepped in and said, we will help the council do two things. A, fund the rescue effort. So the costs have been about £500,000 already, just making sure that people were temporarily housed and looked after and had a roof over their heads and food to eat. Second thing that the government should have done by now is to say, yes, we will fund the reconstruction. Because whilst they're telling us that there's funds we can apply for, that's not really appropriate in a situation like this. They should be saying categorically, yes, we'll help with the emergency costs and we'll help with the reconstruction.
Wirral Council requested £500,000 of emergency government funding, but when a general election was called just 3 weeks later, they were told they'd have to wait. 6 months later, they're still waiting. The council have spent over £300,000 clearing the site and rehousing some of the people affected. Regular meetings are held with residents and business owners. New plans for the regeneration of the town have been released, but not everyone is happy.
We've got to look at what the council can do in terms of quick wins.
So in quick wins, surely it would be open the road, do up the buildings that are already there, get the shops into the buildings that are already there, and leave everything else as is. You're going to bring in more shops, beautiful looking, away from the explosion area where we've all been devastated. And we're the ones that have put up with this.
When you go back to the government, it's not just about regeneration, which is vital and important. It's about the immediate help and support for us here tonight.
It's taken 6 months to repair the bar areas at the Cleveland pub, and tonight the doors are finally open once more.
I'm excited, don't get me wrong, but I am really anxious. Since the explosion, things have become really, really quiet. It's getting dire, it is.
A government spokesperson told us that the Communities Minister had visited the site. They also said,
the government has taken the New Ferry explosion extremely seriously and has responded properly and proportionately.
You listen to what the government say and it just seems like they think New Ferry is a small town in the north and they've got bigger issues to be dealing with.
Well, maybe they have, but actually New Ferry's our town and we care about it, and I want central government to pay attention to that.
We're forgotten. We're left to get on with it ourselves, but we need help, and we need help now. The one thing about us is we get up and we fight for what we want, and we won't go away quietly, and we'll keep on pushing and pushing and pushing till somebody hears us and helps us.